What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Yee Podcast. My name is Parker Smith, joined by my two brothers, Granger and Tyler. Yee is an outdoor brand built on faith, freedom, and the outdoors.
Almost said family, didn't you?
We took a little break last week, but we're back with the biggest news in maybe my lifetime, besides 9/11. A shooter at a rally in Pennsylvania on, was it Saturday?
Yep.
On Saturday afternoon, climbed up on a building 130 yards away and took a shot at the, not the president, but the former president and 2024 candidate, Donald Trump.
Wearing a Demolition Ranch shirt.
Wearing the shirt of one of our buddies, Matt Carricker.
I thought Matt had a great response. Did you guys watch it?
No, Brian did.
I watched the whole thing. You watched it, Brian? I did. I thought Demo did a good job and distancing himself from that personality. Also protecting himself by saying, look, all we do is sell. We don't get to interview people that wear our stuff. And then reiterating several times that his program is not about violence.
He basically had people asking, like news agencies asking him if he knew the shooter or if he had talked to them, and it was just really bad.
Yeah.
You would really expect him to be wearing some Trump shirt or some general patriotic shirt, because people are like, well, maybe he just wore that just to blend in there so that he wouldn't stand out. But like, Matt Carricker's huge. He's got one of the biggest gun YouTube channels in the world, but it's not that, like, it's still a pretty small world. Like, the fact that he was wearing that shirt, what are the odds?
What else are you going to wear?
Literally anything else. I mean, Black
Demo
Rifle Coffee is
Ranch.
a $500 million company, though. Like, even that would,
I don't know.
yeah, Grunt Style or 9-Line probably. Tyler and I were like, man, I'm glad he wasn't wearing Yee.
Let's see if I could find an interesting post that Matt Walsh put, not specifically about Demo, but let's see if I can. He posts so many. Sorry, Parker.
I wonder if Demo was able to go in the back end of his store and see that guy's name, if he bought it or if he got it for, you know what I mean? Like, that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. So yeah, Trump got shot.
We checked and he never bought anything from EE. Zach.
You did?
Zach or Brian told
Oh
us
my
that.
gosh! Thank goodness.
Oh, you guys actually checked?
Yeah.
So
I actually thought about that when I saw Demo's post. I thought, I bet you their company checked and saw his address and saw when he posted it or when he purchased it and everything. Anyway, I can't find this. I can't find this post by Matt Walsh, but it's very interesting to think about that guy and him. He was a registered Republican, which he just recently did, which is just so bizarre.
Yeah, he doesn't look the part.
Here's the post. It says, here's the official story so far. A random 20-year-old acting completely alone walked within 150 yards of a presidential campaign rally with a rifle, climbed onto a rooftop in full view of Secret Service snipers, set up his shot and fired without anyone intervening and with no help from anyone. This 20-year-old is also so politically radical as to attempt an assassination, and yet not radical enough to have ever posted any political writings or commentary on social media site ever in his entire life. He also wrote no manifesto and left behind no indication about why he did it. His last and only political act before attempting to kill the Republican candidate was to register as a Republican. You must believe this and ask no questions about it, or else you are a conspiracy theorist. And one thing we know about assassination attempts is that there's never any conspiracy involved.
I just got done watching an interview on CNN where they're interviewing Congressman Corey Mills, who was a sniper and had led many sniper operation missions. And he was saying that the fact that he was able to get 130 yards away on one of the only buildings around, and video is now circulating on Twitter of them yelling 2 to 3 minutes beforehand, trying to warn people of apparently a police officer climbing up, and then the shooter turns to the police officer. He says, this is such elementary stuff that we have to consider an investigation of some sort of inside job.
It's so obvious, it's obvious.
And the CNN anchor was like completely pushing him down. She was like, you're really going to go to that. So you are accusing Joe Biden of attempting to assassinate. He's like, I never said Joe Biden. I'm just saying that this is at this level, this type of oversight deserves some type of investigation to figure out what happened.
Everybody's asking the same questions. It's like everybody's seen the map. It's like, okay, cool. There's what, three buildings or something? It's like, so why don't we get all of our guys on each of those buildings? No.
So let me play devil's advocate for you guys. As Parker's talking, I was just thinking, what if, do you think, I should say, this has anything to do at all, like with the police officer that climbed back down, for instance, and the snipers that had him in their sights? Do you think this has anything to do with just the political climate over the last 5 years that have villainized police and law enforcement, and especially shootings and shooters, police officers that fire are now getting put into prison with life sentences, and their life flashes before their eyes. They're like, I could be a hero and take out this guy on the roof, or I could hesitate just for a second and I'll go home to my wife tonight and I won't get arrested. And they're not going to say that, how you idiot, that guy had mental illness and it was a fake gun and he blah, 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 blah. And they're like, listen, whatever, I'd rather just climb back down this ladder and just go home to my wife and kids tonight.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, but I think there's a lot of points preceding that, which is what I said. Let's get our guys on every building.
Sure.
So you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't have that sniper that saw him through a scope 130 yards away. There should be one of our guys on that building. There should be all kinds of perimeters of, like, you see some guy walking around with a gun, fake or not. There's so many things preceding that should have taken place.
Yeah.
Like, he shouldn't have even been able to get on that roof with a rifle, I guess, is Tyler's point. Like,
no,
I totally once he's
agree.
Already up there, I get it, man.
He shouldn't have been in the same city like that a former president or a president is in and about to speak, let alone 130 yards.
Do you think that's just like one of those things, like in life, you just assume that things are way more organized and professional than they actually are? Like, you'd like to think, like, you know, you go around the White House, you're like, oh, there's snipers on you right now. Like, you like to think that, but maybe it's just like,
no, because
it's not like that.
Because that's the top of the top, and it's kind of like unpopular opinion, but it's the women protecting Trump. It's like, with all due respect, like, would you want at the top of the top, would you want a girl that's 5'2" that can't cover your body, or would you want a 6'5", like a guy? It's like I was telling Parker, it's like in sports camp this week, we got 6 and 7 and 8 year olds running around. Let's spread the love around. Let's give everybody a touch. It's sports camp. Let's teach them about Jesus. In the NFL, are you going to tell Tom Brady he can't start, or are you going to give the ball to Tom Brady to be the quarterback? The best paid, the best man for the job.
But
in that sense, it's like, give me a 6'5" black dude, white dude, Asian dude. I don't care. Make sure he's jacked. He can move. He's 6'5" to protect the president.
Let me just say, yes, I totally agree. But it's not the top of the top. It's the Republican candidate is not. It's not the elite force that they're going to put on President Biden.
I agree with that, but shouldn't it be just below that at least?
Yeah, I totally agree. So my buddy Nick, who I was in the Corps with, he works in the Pentagon. For his dad's a general. For a long time, we have not known what Nick does. It's a secret. I won't even say his last name. We don't ask questions. I just know he works in the Pentagon, and we have a chat board we talk on. I'm not agreeing with this. I'm just saying what he said. He said there's really no reason to doubt that there is more to this than what you see. Kid was able to exploit the outer layers where the, quote, other law enforcement is responsible. Rifles leave a lot of opportunities. Can you imagine somebody using that boy who weighs $110 as their agent? Not even for deniability does that make sense. So he's saying, hey, I think it just happened. I think that guy was a crazy idiot who actually wanted to assassinate the former president, and he manipulated some local law enforcement that were supposed to be in charge of the perimeter.
In what way? How would you manipulate them? He's holding the rifle?
Either just by climbing a fence and going up there, and then by chance those guys were scared for their own lives, or scared that they would get put in prison for shooting a guy that was maybe mentally ill, or I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there that there is an argument that maybe this actually was a dude just trying to kill the former president. It's not a conspiracy.
Sure. If it was, it goes back to my main point, though. It's like, why don't we have our guys on every building within 500 yards of that place?
Yeah,
to prevent that.
It's that any movie you've ever seen, like Fugitive or any of the Jason Bourne movies, wherever there's a moving entity, there's always a layers of local security that take over. So it's like the main people are right around the target, and then as the layers go out, it's now we've got federal officers, now we've got state officers, now we've got the local sheriff's department, then we've got the deputy's office. It's like so at some layer there's just a local dude, a Barney Fife, who's like, oh, man, I think I'd rather just go home to my wife. Personally, I agree with you.
Listen,
personally, I think there's a conspiracy. Personally, I don't agree that it just happened by chance.
This is like your music days. When you go play a big concert and you go in the crowd, are you going to pick some random dude, local dude that works at this arena or this festival? Or are you going to be like, my guy is Chris, like wherever I go, whatever environment, that's my guy. And back to your point of like, yeah, Trump's guys, Chris's, were right there with him. But it's like, if you're at that level, if you're a superstar artist, you have different layers that should go outside.
There was always a local guy with me.
Yeah,
Chris was never not with me.
Your guy is always with you.
Yeah.
Though. I'm just saying.
But the guy watching the buses was the local guy. I think there's a conspiracy. Tyler, I agree with you. I'm just throwing out there that there are other ideas about this.
There's a statement put out by the Secret Service. I got this off of Allie Beth Stuckey's podcast, where she said that the Secret Service has released that their goal is to have the Secret Service be 30% female by the year 2030. And her pushback was the goal of the Secret Service should be to protect the President of the United States or that candidate for President of the United States. If your primary objective is to have a certain amount of a certain sex, then it seems like your priorities are off. And people will say, well, you're being misogynistic. You're saying that, you're just anti-female. You're saying that women can't do everything that men can. When there's a quote by Michael Knowles, and he says, it's actually misogynistic to require a woman to take a bullet for a man.
Yeah.
When a society puts their women on the front lines to sacrifice themselves for the men, that seems backwards.
Man, we've had this discussion so many times in so many situations. Give me a really strong woman, physically, mentally. I'll take that over a weak man or an average man all day long. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about elite men. And I will never take an elite woman over an elite man. No one would. No one ever has in history. You take the elite man in the capacity of physical, personal defense, protection, war, fighting. You always do that. That's in the animal species and humanity. You always put forward your best soldier, and your best soldier is always a man. That's not misogynistic.
What do you think Marcus Luttrell would say?
The same thing. I mean,
I know. I'm saying, like,
yeah.
What would happen if whatever
Marcus.
you're talking about would say we're going to put 30% women in SEAL Team 6 to go hunt down Osama bin Laden or whoever?
Not the same thing at all, but when I was in the Corps of Cadets at Texas A&M, I know that they had goals that they were starting to push in the mid-2000s, mid-2010s, and then late 2010s when I was there, to have the Corps be a certain percent of or certain race and a certain percent female. And I remember talking to Dad back in the day, and he'd say, of course, have women in the military. Have women, they can join the military if they want. They can join the NROTC if they want. But to say that we're going to have a minimum number in there just for diversity's sake to avoid offending people just seems like you're a slave to the critics, and you're losing sight of the goal because you're scared of people. And it's like, yeah, it's easy for you to say, Parker, you're a white guy, you're a white male in the United States, but it just seems to make sense. You know, I'm the minority in a lot of countries in the world, you know,
including this one now.
It's like, there's a quote of John MacArthur. He holds a white index card by his face, and he says, "Do I look white to you?" He says, "We're all just a different shade of brown."
That's funny.
So anyway, and I'm not trying to take, you know, you guys know what I mean. There just seems to be a misplacement of priorities in the world that we live in when we're living scared.
Yeah, and if we say that, though, we also have to point out that it was the white male that chickened out and didn't take out the sniper. So there's also that.
Yeah. Elon Musk, did you see some of Elon Musk's tweets exposing the New York Times? The New York Times, the very next day, their head article was, let's see if I have it written down
That
here.
guy's a patriot. When are they going to come for him next?
Oh, they've been coming after him for a long time.
Elon Musk tweeted and said, "The New York Times just published this about Trump today. They are truly callous and despicable human beings, not a shred of empathy." And the headline from the New York Times is a picture of Trump, and it says, "He failed the tests of leadership and betrayed America. Voters must reject him."
I did not see that.
That was like the day after the assassination attempt. Elon Musk's tweet had 106,000 retweets and reached 56 million people.
Which is probably way more than the New York Times ever did.
Right.
And then he came out and said that he's in complete support of Trump, and he was not going to announce that he was not going to endorse any candidate. And he said, I fully support President Trump, and he's pledging $45 million a month.
A month, yeah.
Toward his
I saw
campaign.
that.
Wow. I didn't know that.
So,
Golly.
yeah.
And Vice President Vance as well. He fully endorses him as well. Musk does.
Yeah, so J.D. Vance is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
J.D. Vance was announced as his vice president, his pick for vice president. And Tyler and I, Granger, I don't know if you read it, but Tyler and I actually read his book.
I didn't read it yet, but I've
you
heard
didn't?
good things.
Okay. Yeah, Hillbilly Elegy was really good. He grew up in the Smoky Mountains in the American Midwest, very low income, and he has a really cool story.
Here's a post about that. When the Twin Towers came down, J.D. Vance enlisted in the Marine Corps, gung-ho to exact justice on America's enemies. Subsequently, he came to believe that forever wars were a mistake. This is who I want by Trump's side, an American patriot with the courage to fight America's wars.
And he's
And it says,
39.
but the wisdom to know when to avoid them.
Yeah.
And he's 39 years old.
What do you guys think about? I saw Dana White with the UFC supporting Trump and talking about the courage that it takes, and how he said that was just Trump's character on display to have the foresight in the middle of that chaos to literally get shot, and then to have the self-awareness and the courage to then stand up out of the Secret Service and chant fight.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
I told you what I thought. When you told me, you were like, oh, he was probably thinking great marketing opportunity. I was like, no, dude. I was like, when you get shot and you feel it rip through your ear, and then like, dude, you don't have time to think. I told Parker, I was like, that's just the man that he is. That showed his true colors. He stood back up and he was like, fight. I just got shot. And like subconsciously he's thinking, what's going on? He's like, fight for America. It's like, I think everybody saw that and felt that. He's not thinking in his mind, a marketing opportunity. Like, he just got shot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Did you guys see by chance the video that was going around of Reagan getting shot?
I saw the video of the balloon popping after he'd been shot.
Okay, the other one. Tyler, did you see the one? I feel like this whole podcast I'm looking at my phone trying to find something. But Brian, I'm gonna find it, and then let's play it on here. It's pretty incredible. So let me look for it. You guys, it's I don't know what I want to say by it besides the fact that, yeah, I agree with everything Tyler said, but at the same time, if I'm Secret Service, I'm like, man, get your butt down next time. I don't care what kind of fist you got to make. You get your butt down. You know what I mean? So yeah, it brought
surely they cleared him to get back up, right? What are you saying?
No, I think
he just jumped right back
I
up.
think he was like, move. I gotta get up.
Oh.
I want up.
The shooter is down.
Oh, they did, and that's why he was able to get up. Yeah, I assume he wouldn't have got it back up if the shooter was still alive.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked like he was, he was wanting to get up and go against what they were saying. Let's see if I can find this video.
Oh, I'm sure none of them wanted him to get up. Yeah.
While Granger's looking for that, I saw that. I actually didn't know that Reagan was shot. Apparently it was a ricochet that punctured his lung. And some years later, he was giving a speech, and there's a really loud balloon that pops. And Reagan, you can find the video. Reagan doesn't even flinch. It's a really loud balloon pop, and he just stops what he's saying. He just goes, "Missed me." And he didn't. You can't know. He didn't know that wasn't a gunshot at the time. But after having been shot once, to have that kind of personality says a lot about Reagan. And apparently, Reagan credits surviving that ricocheted shot that punctured his lung. He said, "My life is completely and wholly only alive because God spared me." And he could articulate the gospel very clearly and showed that, from what we can tell, that he was strong in his Christian faith. And it was particularly after that moment of getting shot that he became really serious about his faith and devoted his life to God. So we can only hope that through this,
Trump's thinking about his mortality.
He looked pretty emotional when he was coming out. It was last night. He was coming out to that speaking event, and he did look pretty emotional coming out. I mean, that certainly has to change you, thinking that bullet was headed for my brain. Hopefully the Lord can use that for Trump, someone who has had so much prosperity, to consider his own mortality.
Trump's the modern day Solomon. If God changed Solomon's heart, he could do the same with Trump.
So do you guys know that there's only been 2 assassinations of presidents in the U.S. Easy to name, right? First one was
Lincoln.
Second one was,
I thought there was one more.
Just 2.
JFK and Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so the latest
There's
assassination.
a conspiracy that JFK wasn't assassinated, but
Have you seen the video? He's dead.
yeah. There's conspiracies about anything, but go on.
You think?
No, I don't.
You think he lived past
no,
that?
I don't.
They pulled pieces of his brain off of that car.
I just, long story. There's a guy in the Trump video that's standing behind Trump that they say is actually JFK.
Oh my goodness!
What's his name?
And Elvis is back too, right?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Well, so 1981 is the last time there was been an attempt, and I want you guys to watch. It's very interesting, talking about Secret Service, talking about the qualifications for Secret Service, who they are. There was no diversity rules or goals in 1981, and watch what happens. If have you seen this before? And done. And they got the gun.
He was that close,
Yeah, it was pretty much point blank.
and he missed.
No, he got him. Look, there's guys with the machine guns. Right here. And the car, by the way, the car's gone. The car left. The car left right away.
But Reagan survived that.
Yeah,
He's right.
right here.
He didn't get hit or anything.
Yeah, he did. He got hit. So, boom, got him. They push him in the car. The car leaves right now, and they got the shooter down, and they took his gun.
That's his gun.
Yeah, they pulled it out. Anyways, it's really crazy. It takes like 1 second, and the car's gone. And then if you watch it back to back with the
so
Trump
true.
one, the Trump one is like, hang on, let me get my shoes. And they're like,
And
the
those
car
girls-
sitting
those
there, like
girls
couldn't
were-
open the door. They couldn't holster their guns. The Suburban sat there for, I mean, that Suburban should have been gone. You don't know if there's another guy coming.
That's
You don't know
so
if
true,
this is
man.
the beginning of something. This is a war
When did
starting.
we get so soft? Right after 1981.
Those guys, there's all of a sudden, I watched that video a lot, and there's different angles of it, but they're all walking. You don't see a single gun. All these men are walking in suits, and then
Tell you the
suddenly
problem.
there's machine guns. They're like, where did you get? They were in their jackets with loaded machine guns.
We still have men like that still think the same way as those guys in 1981. It's what you said earlier, where there's a thought in your head of, am I going to get put on the death row? Am I going to get prison for life for doing the right thing? Because of all the nuances, all the phones, all the new rules and laws and politics involved. There's that split decision where it's like, am I doing the right thing? Because there's like phones all on me filming me.
Yeah, that shooter.
Those guys are just, that's what we want to do now, but we can't.
Yeah,
They
just
can't.
crud. Like Reagan was gone, shooter was down, dog pile on him, guns taken. He's already in the hospital, probably in like 30 seconds in that armored car. There was nobody messed around. But I guarantee now, I got a feeling now there's going to be a lot more seriousness around Secret Service, and especially if Trump gets the presidency, I think there's going to be a lot more people with hair triggers, like tackling people, taking extra precautions, which it should be. It's that way in every other country and every other time period of the world.
Kind of like what happened with airplane security after 9/11. Hopefully this is a wake-up call.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That the head of the Secret Service protecting the United States of America, protecting the President of the United States of America, protecting presidential candidates of the United States of America, maybe shouldn't be run by the lady who worked at Pepsi.
Brian, read what article just came out. The statement just came out as we're recording this podcast.
So I sent it to you guys too, but so yeah, the Secret Service director used to be the head of security at Pepsi, I believe, and she was in an interview, and they asked her about the building and why it wasn't secured, and she said, in quote, "That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point, and so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside."
That is so unbelievable that there's hardly anything to respond to with. I don't know.
And so someone tweeted a picture of the sloped building and said, "Gosh, what a scary slope. Must be at least 5 degrees."
So by the time this podcast comes out, that information about the sloped roof is probably going to be viral and in every kind of meme and every kind of joke.
And so then you see the picture of the Secret Service snipers that are on that red roof that everyone's seen the clips of. That roof is way more sloped than the building the shooter was on.
Man, it's fishy.
Lots more we could say on this. Lastly, I just want to address one thing that I did see go viral that lots of people were talking about, that Trump was shot at 6:11 p.m. and they were comparing that to Ephesians 6:11 on putting on the armor of God daily. And I would just really warn, I would warn our listeners, I would warn people about using the Bible in that way. I used the Bible that way for most of my life when I claimed to be a Christian. If you open up the Bible, it's 7:15 p.m. Let's go to something 7:15. It's July 15th, so we're gonna do this or that. And man, the Bible is just it's not like this form of like magic, where you can just point to a different verse depending on how you're feeling, and then you put everything into that verse and what it says. The Bible is an overarching story, and it's meant to be treated in that way. Granger, do you have any quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, same. It's not. I think, our goal really in reading the Bible. What's the goal of reading the Bible? It's to learn who God is more and more and more, which is a long time journey. And the only way to learn who He is by reading Him in full context, in as He has revealed Himself in the full canon. And if you're just looking for parts about suffering, or just looking for parts about guilt, or just looking for parts about forgiveness, or just looking for parts about love, you're missing all of His other attributes, and you're seeing Him only in the light of the attribute that you personally want Him to be in. That's the danger of it. So in this case, you're wanting Him to be the Ephesians 6 God only in this situation, and yet He's not any of the other attributes because you don't see them.
So on a lighter note, during the month of June, as you may or may not know, Yee was donating a portion of every single sale. In light of the world donating to causes they believe in, Yee donated over $3,000 to Unashamed Truth Ministries, whose mission is to glorify God. And so that's really cool. And then also recently, our neighbor's tractor, who the farmer who bales the hay on the Yee farm, was also baling the neighbor's hay, and also lives really close to us. His tractor,
Sorry, Ronald Reagan's getting hit again.
His tractor burned up and was destroyed, and it wasn't fully insured. Insurance will cover some of it, but not all of it. And our goal was to either buy him a new tractor or to at least buy him a new cutter, which are not cheap. And thanks to all you guys, we made a shirt. 100% of profits are going to him, and we were able to raise over $20,000. Thanks to Yee Nation, thanks to you guys. And so we're really excited to surprise him. He has no idea that we did it, but yeah, we're really excited about that. Granger, you were just at the National FFA convention. We could have sold.
Man, that shirt would have worked out well there. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for your support. We love that's like the reason that we do it, to be able to give back and to do stuff like that. It's really fun. And thank you guys for contributing. So that's all we have this week. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast, and see you soon.
Thank you.